Welcome everyone to the next episode of the Parasite podcast with me, Alfie Toonhill, and once again with my good friend and co-host Lamel. Lamel, how are you, pal?
I'm very good this week. Had most of the week off, only worked yesterday, so it's not too bad. Just been, getting stuff sorted out. Spring cleaning, you might say, in January, February now. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's much the same, just working away. Obviously playing a bit of Xbox, Switch after work. Just watching the football, not a lot to talk about. Still in lockdown, as we've been saying for the length of this podcast, but You've just got to keep the chin up and hope it goes away as soon as possible, eh?
Yeah, well, for us in Scotland anyway, we know that the lockdown's been extended to the end of February, so hopefully we see some light at the end of the tunnel by then. So
yeah, just to make that clear, that's right now we've got no restaurants and more importantly, we've got no pubs. So
no pubs, no bars, no clubs, no
pals, no nothing.
A funny fact I heard today that the police are even stopping.
The what?
The police for our non-Scottish viewers. They're actually stopping people that have freshly cut hair, actually questioning them. So you can tell how tight of a lockdown it is right now.
Well, as you can see, they'll not stop me. So that's
I've cut my own hair. It's all good.
One thing for this horrendous haircut. I'll not get stopped by the police, as you put it.
The police.
Right, so we are here to talk about the next episode of The Mandalorian, titled The Gunslinger. So,
Chapter 5.
And that'll do for our intro, so we'll get right on to it. So here we go.
Okay, Alphaton Hill. So, episode 5, or chapter 5, The Gunslinger, begins with Mando and Grogu in the Razor Crest flying. Yep. We don't see anything in the background apart from a ship shooting at them. Mm-hmm. We soon learn that this is obviously another guild member who Mando obviously has a bounty on him now, and also with the bounty on Grogu, the child. So that obviously the guild members there have been called to try and bring Mando in or kill him, take the bounty.
Yeah, it's not clear what ship, it's not an iconic ship, it's just some sort of fighter craft that he's chasing Mando in the Razor Crest. It's a short scene. Notably, the bounty hunter tries to use Mando's own line against him.
Yeah.
I can take you in warm, or I can take you in cold. At that point, Mando just shuts his engines off, lets the guy's ship go past, blasts him, and he's like, "That's my line."
I think it's a very cool scene for being a short scene.
Yes,
and also I think
great little intro.
Sorry. I think that the ship that the guild member is flying is kind of representing to, in the prequels, you've got those, like the Republic ships that look like the early versions of the X-Wing.
Yeah,
it kind of resembles that.
Like what the ARC troopers flew.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. So it kind of resembles that to me.
that wee camera error there, aye?
Yeah.
Mate, live and in living colour, we don't cut anything out here.
Makes it more interesting.
It certainly does. So anyway, now that we've just seen your title, after this scene, we get the title of The Gunslinger, so quite well timed there, Lamel.
Yeah. Yeah, so after that, obviously, we get the Mandalorian, Chapter 5, The Gunslinger, with the normal ba-dum music. We cut to, obviously, the Razor Crest. Obviously, we've blown up the guild member, and it's kind of damaged, and it's kind of floating through space.
Yeah. What I think is, you see Mando getting up in the cockpit and going to maybe turn on an emergency backup generator or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's basically just in case all power fails, they're not just floating through the void of space without any you know, they'll still need heating in the ship because obviously space is going to be cold. Need oxygen. If that's what they breathe, it's never really touched on in the Star Wars universe. So
Yeah, that's true, actually, yeah. Obviously, I think it just kind of goes without saying, but that's a good point. We then see the sort of Razor Crest approaching a planet, so an orange planet. I think we can maybe put two and two together what it could be, but we do get confirmation when over the comm link it says Mos Eisley.
Yep. Call back to the obviously the prequel, sequel, and original trilogies, Luke Skywalker, Anakin Skywalker, all that.
So, you know, obviously Harden fans will know it's Tatooine. Did they ever actually mention Tatooine in this episode? Is it specifically saying?
I don't think they actually mentioned Tatooine, although they do mention Mos Eisley, which we know is on Tatooine. So.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't know, it's not an integral point, but,
yeah,
you know, there's a good callback for, you know, hardcore fans to know it's Mos Eisley.
Yeah, exactly. But obviously, he connects with the tower, like, you know, like an aircraft would with a tower at the airport.
Tells you where to land and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the tower says to Mando to land. I think it was Bay 3-5 or 3-4.
Well, I just picked up on Bay 5, so if anyone can tell us in the comments what Bay it was,
yes,
and you'll get Star of the Week.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it's one of them anyway. So obviously Mando has his orders, goes down to try and land the ship.
Yeah, and at this point when he does land the Razor Crest, we do find that it's one of the, you know, it's the place or one of the places so very similar to it where we first get the shot of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah. I can't remember what hangar the Falcon was in A New Hope. But it's very, very similar, very callback-ish.
Yeah. So. Another thing it reminds me of is the first Battlefront game for the Xbox One, PS4. There was you know, it was, I think, I don't know what it was called in that game because it was that long ago. Was it Heroes versus Villains?
I think that was one of the game modes. I think you could play it on all game modes, but yeah, that was the one we predominantly played.
Yeah, because I remember running about with, like, as Luke Skywalker on that map. I specifically remember that one map. Yeah,
it was just like you could go outside a bit onto the desert and then come in, and the Falcon was there, and it was just a hangar.
Yeah, you could jump about the Falcon on top of it, like. So, moving on, once he's docked and he comes out, we see pit droids, which was a callback to the Phantom Menace. You know, the pit droids that, first of all, are in Watto's shop. Where Jar Jar opens one up when he's not supposed to touch anything, and then there's the three that work on the pod racer.
And here's a question for the viewers: if you know if one of them springs out, how do you get it to fold back up on itself? Answer in the comments below.
That's right. So, again, who can get a gold star this week? But just before sort of Mando walks off the ship, he does put Grogu in some sort of like a storage compartment. Yeah.
We see that, obviously, spoilers for future episodes, but we see that quite a lot. It kind of becomes his bedroom.
Yeah, effectively so, yeah. Just a small area in the cargo hold of the ship where they can hide Grogu.
Yeah.
The pit droids sort of kick into action and they go to, you know, work on the ship, but Mando takes a shot at them. I think obviously he's not trying to actually destroy them, but he's just trying to sort of startle them to say, you know, get off my ship, get away.
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, bringing back to previous episodes, we know he doesn't like droids.
Doesn't trust them.
So he's still not overly fond of them.
That's right. Then, you know, the mechanic comes out and says, you know, was a bit daft at him for trying to destroy her property.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's a bit like, how did you even land this? You know, it just shows how badly damaged the Razor Crest actually was at the time.
She mentions carbon scoring, which is for like ourselves, the nerds. That's been mentioned in obviously a lot of the films. So we know we don't actually know what carbon scoring is. We just know it's a term.
Assume it's some sort of like extreme burn, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think it's something to do like with obviously being in a dogfight with another ship.
Yeah,
the laser burn.
So maybe it's just like blaster bolt hits.
Yeah. Again, comment below if you know the true answer.
Yeah, would like to hear. Mando then, after he's sort of said, I want you to fix the ship, but I want you to do it. You do it. I don't want droids doing it. He then heads into, into town, heads into he's obviously looking for a cantina. Just before he does find the cantina, he does pass, a load of spikes with stormtrooper helmets on it.
Yeah.
Obviously shows that, Tatooine is not a planet fond of the Empire.
That's right. Obviously, we know that there was a predominant force of, Imperials that were at Tatooine at the time of Luke Skywalker in A New Hope. So
that's right. We cut back to sort of, the mechanic and our pit droids playing Sabacc.
Yeah, nice touch.
Basically, Star Wars' form of poker.
Yeah, as obviously seen in the Han Solo film, which, again, great film.
Yep. Grogu then comes out off the Razor Crest and the mechanic. I didn't quite catch the mechanic's name. Did you?
I think she's just referred to as a mechanic.
I think she does say her name once, but I couldn't quite pick it up what it actually was. But again, if anyone can tell us in the comments, that would be great. So she, she looks after Grogu in Mando's absence. Thankfully, she's a good person. She does try to sort of swindle him for as many credits as she can get, but at heart, she is a good person.
She's basically looking to look after Grogu and charge Mando for looking after him.
Yeah, why not?
Basically babysitting. Did you notice when Grogu comes out, or just before he comes out of the ship, it makes a noise similar to what Obi-Wan makes to scare off the Tusken Raiders?
I didn't pick up on that, no. That's something I'll go back and watch.
Yeah, I picked up on that when I watched it back, and I thought that this episode's full of callbacks to that particular film. I feel.
Oh, definitely.
In the same place.
The first time that we've actually explored Tatooine, in quite a long time.
Yeah.
So with that being said, we find Mando. He goes into the canteen at Obi-Wan and Luke go and find Han and Chewie.
Yeah, he does. Although slight difference, there's the barkeep, we'll call it, is a droid and not a person this time.
Yep, quite a big difference, because back when the cantina was man run, alien run, droids were not welcome in that cantina, and it's quite ironic that they now run it.
Yeah, which is obviously another cool callback, but also play about with it.
Exactly, yeah. Mando goes up to the droid who's tending the bar and requests work. At this point, we learn that the Bounty Hunter Guild no longer operates from Tatooine. So could that potentially be, but because the Hutts aren't running Tatooine anymore, that the Bounty Hunter Guilds, they just shut shop and left?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting to know who does run, the underworld of sorts. But yeah, of course, we want to move away from that just now.
Yeah. After hearing Mando's looking for work, a sort of fresh-faced young man named Toro, was it?
Toro Calican.
Yep. He introduces himself and he's got a puck for a Fennec Shan.
Yeah. It's the first mention of Fennec Shan that we get, and Mando says to Toro that obviously he knows who she is. She's heard the name before.
Yeah.
We understand that she's works for all the crime syndicates and everything like that. So
yeah, including the Hutts.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mando makes it pretty obvious that he's aware of who she is. He understands how dangerous she is. The Toro tries to swindle Mando by, try to come across as a bounty hunter that's done quite a lot of work. Mando can sort of see through him and knows that Toro's not got an idea of what, about being a bounty hunter truly is.
Yeah. Mando's very experienced in that. Obviously, we find that out. And yeah, like you said, he can see through him. To which Toro, when Mando says good luck with that, he runs after him and says, "This is my first job," kind of trying to keep it on the down low.
He comes clean.
Yeah.
Basically, lets it slip that, he's trying to join the guild and that, if he gets this bounty, that would then give him passage to actually join the bounty hunter guild.
Yeah, which is interesting because to get into the bounty hunter profession, you need to hunt a bounty.
Yeah. Which then, it's like, well, how'd you get the bounty if you're not in the guild?
Yeah, exactly. It's like an initiation process.
It could very be the case that they give you a very hard bounty to get so that you can then prove yourself worthy. And if they give you that bounty, they very well know, well, you're not experienced, so you're either going to do it or come back, or not come back, you'll be dead. So either way, the guild doesn't really lose.
Yeah, exactly. They're not losing out on anything, are they?
That could be the case. Well, at this point, I did think, what are Mando's motives for helping him? Because I don't remember there being any conversation where it's like, well, this is the reward and you can have it all.
It's the money side of things, I think. I think Toro, he just wants to get in the guild.
Yeah.
So he does offer Mando the payment of the bounty.
At this point.
And I think it's in the same scene.
It's alluded to later, but I don't remember him forthright saying, the credits are yours, I just want the glory.
I don't think he says that as, parte, but I think it is hinted at.
Yeah.
But obviously Mando's looking for the credits to pay the mechanic to fix the ship.
Yeah. So
that's
his motive,
I would say.
After that, exactly. Once Mando leaves the cantina, he returns to the Razor Crest, finds Grogu's missing, and then like a switch in his head goes off. Protector mode, he comes out all guns blazing, shouting and roaring, whereas, the mechanic's falling asleep whilst trying to get Grogu to sleep. He startles the mechanic and then wakes Grogu up in the process as well.
Yeah, it's a comedic moment there when she's like, I'm up, which we've all experienced at work and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely. We then sort of cut to, he comes out of a door and he meets Toru, who has 2 speeder bikes.
Which earlier Mando did ask him to get and bring to that hangar.
Yeah, the mechanic's sort of surprised, thinking, well, where's he got this from? And at that point, Toru mentions he's from Corellia.
Yeah, there is a mention to Corellia there, which for anyone that doesn't know, that's where Han Solo's from.
Yeah, I think
and
this is that's sort of who they're trying to make Toru to be. I think sort of like a naive Han Solo type figure.
Yeah. But he's not got the swag or the cockiness about him, has he?
Or the skill.
Yeah, exactly. So
after that, then they get on the speeder bikes and speed off into the Dune Sea. At this point, I did just want to mention, the CGI.
Yeah, brilliant. I think most of it, if I'm not mistaken, is shot in a studio. So the scale of what they did on screen is absolutely mental.
It is good. It's not quite as good as if it was a feature length film, but if you sort of if you don't try and nitpick, it is it's very, very good quality.
Yeah, definitely. Well done, Disney.
Yeah, definitely. They sort of stop in their tracks because Mando sees something sort of in the road. They sort of get off and have a look through binoculars and see banthas and sand people.
Yep, call back to A New Hope yet again when Luke sees the bantha, sand people, and then one obviously comes up and hits him on the head or hits him wherever.
Yeah, Mando and Toru have an interesting conversation here where, Toru's very disrespectful of the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders, calls them, I think it was monsters or something to that effect. And then Mando was like, well, they think you're the outsiders. They consider this to be their land.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And that hints that there's lots of different civilizations within this galaxy, even on the same planet. And we knew that already with the Sand People, but up until now, we didn't really, we never really heard them communicate with each other. It was all just a bunch of shouting.
yeah, I think at this point it sort of humanizes the Tusken Raiders, more than we've ever had in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
You do get a sort of, it's not, it's a very mild, fright scene where, Mando says, "Well, ask them," and then it cuts to two Sand People behind Toru. And at that point, you do get the sort of sign language between Mando and the Tuskens, which is, it's cool. It's good to see that, they're not instinctively just attacked, which, we think that's what they do. They're just beasts.
Yeah, yeah. And obviously we learn in later episodes that they can be useful as well. Spoilers for future episodes. We'll discuss that in another episode of the Parsec podcast, though.
But again, this, just like with the Jawas, it shows Mando's had dealings with, this, the Sand People before, as he knows how to communicate with them.
Definitely. And obviously they are there to negotiate Mando and Toro crossing their land, what they think's their land.
Yeah.
Which Mando obviously sorts out and negotiates by giving Toro's binocs to the Tusken Raiders. Brand new.
Brand spanking new.
Which obviously Toro doesn't like.
Well, no wonder.
Well, it's like getting your new gutties chucked across the room, eh?
Gutties means new trainers, new sneakers, if you will. So after they've got passage, free passage through the Tusken Raiders territory, again, they come to an abrupt halt on the speeder bikes. And I like this bit, because rather than Mando telling Toru what the layout of the land is, what the situation is, he asks like a sort of teacher would. He says, what do you see?
Yeah.
Effectively asking, multiple questions like, what dangers do you see? What do you think could have happened? Things like that. Toru obviously Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
That's one of my biggest, pet peeves in kind of our working industries, when you go for help and one of them go, "What do you think?" And you're like, "Well, come on, I've asked you for help." So it's kind of like that kind of situation.
Yeah, but
I can see it from both sides.
Yeah, that's it gives us as a viewer, it sets up. We can then learn further about just how naive and unexperienced Toru is.
Yeah.
And that's your camera went off there again, bro. So what we see is a Dewback with a dead body beside it. Mando takes the lead and says, you watch. I'll go and take a look. He then finds it's another bounty hunter with a fob. This time it's not for him; it's for Fennec.
Yep. He's then obviously fired upon by Fennec on the hill.
Yeah. Which he knew was coming, though.
Yeah. But he seems surprised that the fob was there.
Yeah.
I mean, he recognised instantly it was a bounty hunter, but he seems surprised by the fob being there. So,
does the first bolt, does it hit him or does it miss him?
The first bolt it hits the sand, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it's the second bolt that hits him, and it does sweep him right off his feet. But
that's right.
It does mention the Beskar was able to withstand that blaster bolt from that range. That indicates that if he was closer and he was to take a hit, it could go through the Beskar and kill him. He did mention it was a modified MK rifle?
Yeah, which is basically like a a Galaxy sniper rifle.
Yeah.
So.
And Toru does say, well, I've not got Beskar. Mando just gives them a look to say, well, he didn't say anything, but you get shot, you're dead, sort of a thing.
Yeah. And obviously Mando advises wait until dark before they attempt to go across the I don't even know what you call it, flat.
Yeah,
flat.
just a
plain.
Plain desert, sea, whatever you want to call it. So we cut to nighttime. Mando is sort of resting by the speeder bike, and Toro thinks he's being cocky.
He's acting the clown.
He points his blaster at Mando. He's saying, I want to shoot you. Hope you think you're sleeping on the job. And Mando just comically says, are you done?
You done?
Like a parent would say to like a teenager.
Yeah. And obviously, Mando hatches a plan to blind scope Fennec because he knows she's looking through a sniper scope. And that's done with light charges.
Yeah, which would we would equate to like a flare.
Yeah, basically. So that the plan is to basically speed bike over this plane and fire these up every now and again to, with the infrared sight that she's got. Basically, it interferes with that, so she can't see them for a brief moment.
I think it also stuns her eyes as well because she's obviously looking through the scope. Just a big flash of light, she's a bit dazed, so it stops her even trying to take a shot at them.
Yeah, and we also see that our sniper scope is a holographic one as well, which can see them in the dark, so it helps them along the way as well.
So they do take turns firing, these flash charges, light charges. Mando does take another bullet to the chest. He gets, pushed off his speeder bike, and I think, that speeder bike does get destroyed.
Yeah, he does. And obviously it hits him right in the chest as well, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the second shot, is it?
That's right, yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And obviously we get a flash of Fennec on the hill.
Yeah.
And Toro zooming past Mando, who's obviously not KO'd, but he's down on the ground.
He's definitely winded.
Yeah. So obviously Toro arrives at the bottom of the cliff where Fennec is.
Yeah.
And works his way up.
Fennec is just about to take another shot at Mando, where, and then Toro reveals himself to Fennec, and then, they get into a bit of fisticuffs.
Yeah, obviously Toro, being inexperienced, gets, disabled. She kicks his blaster out his hand.
Yeah.
Manages to pin him, like they do in the movies.
In an armbar.
Yeah, that's basically what she does. And then obviously Mando appears.
Just points his blaster at her and tells her to cuff herself.
Yeah. And then obviously the dynamic duo of Toro and Mando, they then come up against a problem. That obviously one of the speeder bikes has been destroyed, and they've only got one, which Fennec points out to them.
Yeah.
So it causes a bit of a problem. So only one of them can go back. So Mando, being the forward thinker that he is, obviously points out that we can go back and get that Jew back, and he almost demands that Toro does this. Obviously.
And Toro, it's his first bounty. It's precious. He's saying, do you think I'm going to leave, the bounty and the speeder bike with you? I don't think so. Off you pop, Mando, go and get the Jew back.
Yeah, which obviously Mando does agree to do. And goes off into the night to get the Jew back. He can see it through his sight on his helmet. So
yeah. And again, Fenix, she tries to talk away into Toru's head. We see the sun. She does mention that's the suns coming up. The twin suns in Tatooine.
Yep. Cue the music.
Yep. She mentions, that I might be worth a lot. However, if you take in Mando, he's a guild traitor. You'll get fame and fortune for him. You'll also get the money from his Beskar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So then, Toro's head is then twisted, and Fennec puts her hands up as if to say, like, right, release me and we can get them together. And then Toro just shoots her right in the stomach,
right in the gut. And obviously she crouches over, and then she falls to the ground, which we presume she's dead.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously the next shot we get is Mando arriving back to that spot on the dewback to discover that not Fennec, Toro and the speed bike have gone.
Yeah. Now we know Toro is naive, but we know he's not that naive to release the bounty hunter. That he's just captured.
Yeah. So obviously Mando's probably his head's going 100 miles an hour just now. So his first instinct is to go back to Mos Eisley.
Yeah, to go back to the
on the dewback, which he does.
Yep.
And obviously at the hangar, he comes in aware with his blaster out.
Yeah, he knows something's up, something's not right.
Something isn't right, yeah. And we hear Toro saying, you took your time, Mando. Which obviously...
He's got his blaster, up against it, the mechanic's back, and he is holding Grogu in his arms.
Yep. So obviously, we know that Fennec told him about Mando's antics in a couple of episodes ago, and Grogu, who's the bounty that the Empire or the Imperials want.
That's right.
So he's wanting to prove himself here. And obviously Mando, being the ever-forward thinker, has a plan. Now Toro does say to the mechanic to cuff Mando.
Uh-huh.
And obviously he's got his hands up like that, but he's got one of the charges in his hands.
Yeah, one of the flash charges.
Yeah, one of the flares. And she's like, you're smarter than you look or smarter than you seem.
Yeah.
To which obviously he sets that off and confuses Toro.
Yeah, completely stuns him, takes him off guard. Mando obviously picks his blaster back up, runs round and, takes Toro clean out, shoots him dead.
Yeah, we see him fall, but also he was holding Grogu, so we have a heart in the mouth moment.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, where's Grogu? And so do the mechanic and Mando.
Yeah, they go rapidly, they go up to, Toro's body, and then Grogu comes out from, some sort of, behind a piece of, ship equipment.
Yeah, it's like one of the wee, canister things.
Yeah.
To which obviously he's unharmed, which is a relief to all the audience.
Yeah, and Mando and the mechanic.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the mechanic has grown a wee bond with him. And obviously she mentions to Mando, I take it you didn't get paid on the job then.
Yeah, Mando does, pick up the Toro's sort of wallet and just empties it into the mechanic's hand. You can tell by the mechanic's reaction, this is a lot more money than what she quoted or what she was expecting. Mando says, does this cover it? And she's like, oh, yeah, that covers it, as if to say,
this will cover you.
I'll just keep my mouth shut and then I'll get all this money. Happy days.
Definitely. And obviously that brings us to Mando and Grogu going back on the Razor Crest, and the Razor Crest taking off and flying into the night.
Yeah, and we would think, roll credits. However, we cut back to Fennec's body, and a sort of it sounds like a sort of cowboy approaching, like with like an old school cowboy with spurs.
An old western, yeah.
Yeah, which, spoiler alert for, anyone that's not seen series 2, we'll later find out in series 2, that is in fact Boba Fett.
Boba Fett.
So
Yeah.
technically, Boba Fett has been in series 1 as well.
Yeah, so a lot, although we only see his feet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's we didn't know it at this point, but it's going to be good.
There were rumours that it was Boba Fett. I didn't believe it at the time myself. I thought, I don't think so, but purely because when you went on to see the other episodes, there was no mention of Boba Fett. I thought maybe that's just fans being hopeful.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously that's when the credits roll and we get the artwork, the credits.
Yeah, the concept art.
So obviously that's the end of the episode. My thoughts on the episode itself, it was a very, I would give it maybe about a 9 out of 10 this time.
Yeah, it's not the best, but it's just like, in the series, if you think of it, as you'd rather it be a W, start big, take a little bit of dip, big, wee bit of dip, big end, rather than an end. So I think that's just, it's just a filler episode, but, I thought it was a good episode, an enjoyable one, a quick one, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a filler episode of the sort, so it's very good. But what we'll do now is we'll just obviously do the plugs and obviously allow us to finish this this episode off.
Yeah, so here comes the outro. And with that wraps up another episode of the Parsec podcast. We do really hope that you enjoyed this week's and all the other episodes that we've done. If you have liked our content, feel free to give us a like, a share, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm going to pass over to Lamel, who's going to, give you a quick run through of our social media pages. So over to you, Lamel.
Thank you. So it's so we've got, as you know from previous videos, we've got an Instagram account which is at Parsec Podcasts, Parsec_podcast _66.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a Twitter account which is the same name, just without the underscore. So it's Parsec Podcast 66.
Yep.
And we've also got a Facebook page which is just under Parsec Podcast. Feel free to, like, share, follow, subscribe, all the below. You know what to do. Hit those buttons.
That's right. And, if you do have any comments or, if you'd like to discuss anything, leave us a message on any one of the social medias and, and we certainly will respond.
Of course, yeah. And obviously, my colleague here has a Twitch page in which he plays, Fortnite, which has the Mandalorian skin on it and all different Star Wars games. So I'll let him introduce that.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Lamel. So, it's twitch.tv/HalfwayToNhill. That's ALFAETOONHILL. Star Wars, Battlefront, might be playing, Knights of the Republic, all the old Star Wars games. As Lamel said, Fortnite and other good stuff, Animal Crossing, FIFA, all that good stuff. So nothing else to plug. So just like to say, Alf2Hill signing out.
Yep, and myself also. May the force be with you and keep safe, folks.
All the best. Take care.